hopefully, I was unable to get it to directly stream on the YouTube server, but I'm gonna try and do it using another source. So let's see if that one works. I'm trying to get a preview, and so I could see the if there's any interaction, I can respond. So let me see if it's working. Okay. So they want to access my microphone. Okay. I'm not really sure what's going on with them, but it's not seeming to work right. Really trying. So we're just gonna go ahead and, oh, that's probably what I didn't do. Okay, let's see if it works this time. All right, and I'm trying to see if it's going to work properly so I can also be able to respond to, via text. Okay. Yeah, it looks like there's a place for me to talk. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So let's see if it decides to work. And it's trying to connect for my preview, which I don't know. It says it's not receiving data from my screen. Well, I'm just going to send it through my regular channel then. It is going to be on my YouTube channel, English AMLO-Vision. It should be going live there directly. So let's see if that's going to be open. Give me a second, because I'm trying to set this up for the first time to go live. So I hope this works. Okay. Let's go to another one. And here. English, my channel. And let's see if it shows that we're live. Oh, it does show that we're live. Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, so if you want to see the live show, you have to go to English, the English AMLO-Vision channel, okay? If you want to see the live show, you have to go to English, the English AMLO-Vision channel, okay? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. So this is a live presentation of the, what do you call it? I'm going to lower my volume for myself so it doesn't give you an echo. Okay, so we're starting with the president walking in. So we are, like we do every day at this time, we're going to inform the Mexican people, and we're going to do it today with your questions and the responses that we are looking to give in a punctual way, so that in this way you can clarify things and you can guarantee the right for information. So that we can have this conference and this dialogue. So the only part I'm going to see... Okay, so this is Gabriela Jimenez from Sol de Mexico, and she has a question.
Preguntarle, primero que nada, en estos días llevamos una nota en la que daba cuenta de que en gobiernos anteriores llegaron a pagar.
So she says that we got some kind of a note regarding previous governments that had
Hasta poco más de 6,000 millones de dólares
that they spent more than about $6,000 million
a lo largo de 10 años
over 10 years,
mediante contratos a
and they had some contracts
empresas calificadoras como
with qualifying companies. So they're like credit rating companies,
Fitch y Moody's.
such as Fitch and Moody's.
Preguntarle si usted sabe algo sobre estos contratos.
And she's asking, do you know anything regarding these contracts?
Si ya se cancelaron y bueno, si se...
And have they been canceled yet? Or
procedería a hacer una investigación por parte de la función pública.
Or are you going to be doing some kind of a investigation using public functions?
Contra quienes firmaron estos
Against
contratos,
those who signed for those contracts.
Los nombres del actual gobernador del Banco de México.
Because actually, she says, the governor of Mexico, his name came out on this report, the actual governor.
Y pues bueno, algunos otros de ellos llegaron a ocupar, bueno, están ocupando cargos en bolsas de inversiones como Black.
So, and a few of them actually have jobs working for companies like BlackRock in investments.
Y ahorita, si me permite, otras dos preguntas.
And then she has a couple of more questions additionally. Just trying to type to the live screen. So there's some agreements that the Secretary of Hacienda has with financial governing, with banks, financial companies, or credit rating people, and with banks. And they deal with qualifying companies or these type of companies. That they can evaluate how things are done. And they keep track of how the money is spent, economically, financially, that kind of stuff, for the government. And I have an understanding that at the very least, we're supposed to contract at least 2 of these qualifiers. And they are paid for this. And we have contracts with 3 of them. So he says, that is to say, we could actually save money by getting rid of one, because we could save the money that it would cost to pay one of them. But we don't do it, and we're not going to do it either. Because we don't want them to think that we are in a way chastising or taking revenge against qualifiers or rating companies. That would give a very bad message
a los mercados financieros.
to the financial market and financiers.
Podemos no estar de acuerdo
We may not be in
con lo
agreement
que dicen las calificadoras, como
with what the rating companies say. For example,
sucedió
as it occurred
cuando bajaron la calificación
when they lowered the rating
por la situación petrolera
due to the petroleum situation,
y les reclamamos
and we complained about it,
amablemente
but very amiably, of course,
de que no habían actuado con profesionalismo
we let them know that they had not behaved professionally or with professionalism
porque se quedaron callados
because they remained quiet in the past
en el tiempo en que prevalecía la corrupción en Perú
at the time when corruption prevailed in Pemex
y se cayó la producción petrolera.
and petroleum production dropped.
Solo el año pasado
Not only that, but in the last year alone,
en 200,000 barriles diarios.
it had dropped 200,000 barrels a day, the production, that is.
Y no lo vieron.
And they didn't notice, they didn't see it.
Y sin embargo, a nosotros que detuvimos esa caída,
But on the other hand, we that detained that fall, that drop,
nos bajaron la calificación.
they lowered our credit rating.
Pero eso, pues es propio de un gobierno democrático y de
But that is proper for a government that is democratic
actitudes
and they have attitudes
libres,
that are free
no de sometimiento,
and not of subjecting
ni
yourself,
de parte de las calificadoras ni de parte de nosotros.
neither on the part of the qualifying companies or qualifiers or rating companies or on the part of government or the subject.
Mejor otros gobiernos se quedaron callados
But other governments remained quiet
y no decían nada.
and they didn't say or anything about what was happening.
Pero nosotros mantenemos ese acuerdo
But we maintain that agreement
con las calificadoras
with the qualifier or qualifying or rating companies
sobre lo que cuestan.
over what they cost.
Tengo el dato, pero
I have the data, but
no recuerdo ahora exactamente
I don't recall the number exactly right now,
cuánto significa.
how much it is.
No es mucho, bueno, depende
Well, it's not a lot, but I guess it depends
de cómo se ve,
how it appears
depende cómo se mide,
or how it looks.
pero hoy mismo
But today
lo informamos,
we will inform.
lo damos a conocer.
We'll let you know.
Lo que sí debe de quedar muy claro,
What should be made very clear
que nosotros respetamos
that we respect
todas las recomendaciones
all the recommendations and criteria,
calificaciones,
qualifiers,
decisiones que toman organismos financieros
decisions that are taken by the financial companies themselves,
y sobre todo
and above
las
all,
decisiones que toma el Banco de México,
the decisions that the Bank of Mexico takes,
que tiene autonomía y nosotros respetamos
that has autonomy, and we respect that.
esa autonomía, esa
We respect that autonomy
independencia.
and that independence.
Eso es lo que te puedo comentar.
That's when I can comment to you today.
Y hoy vamos a conocer cuánto cuesta el servicio de las calificadoras.
And today we will let you know how much the service of the qualifiers are actually costing,
¿Qué hacen?
what they do,
¿Por qué se deben de contratar?
and why they should be contracted.
Todo esto que por lo general no se conoce,
All these things that in general are not known,
que es importante,
which is important,
que sea transparente, que se
that it be transparent,
dé a conocer.
and so that it be known.
¿Qué es una calificadora?
Because that's what a qualifier or rating company is.
¿De dónde son?
Where are they from? Or who do they belong to?
¿Por qué los gobiernos deben de tener estos
And why should governments have this
servicios?
or these services?
¿Cuánto cuesta ese servicio?
How much does that service cost?
¿Qué es lo que ellos recomiendan?
What is it that they recommend?
¿Qué es lo que califican?
What is it that they qualify?
Ayer, por ejemplo, salió algo relacionado con el Banco Mundial.
So yesterday there came out something that was related to the World Bank,
Sobre la calificación de México,
related to something in Mexico.
y fíjense,
And imagine this.
México supuestamente
Supposedly Mexico,
en esta medición
in this measure,
fue el primer lugar en confianza.
well, oh, okay, so there was like a credit rating, and Mexico had the number one spot in the most confidence in the, to make investments into,
Para inversión extranjera.
for foreign investments.
Y ahora cae al segundo lugar.
And now it fell into second place.
¿Y quién cree ustedes que pasa a ocupar el primer lugar?
And who do you think came and took first place? And he chuckles.
Chile.
Chile. Oh, and Chile has got big problems right now. Big uproar. The people are rioting because the government increased the rates of their transportation, and they then they, the buses and the trains or whatever, and then the people couldn't afford it, so they said, well, then travel off-peak hours. So that would mean that the people would have to get up extra early and wait and get to their jobs early and then have to leave later. So the people are very upset, and so they're rioting. So Chile is having a lot of problems right now in their economy. So this was obviously a mistake on their part, or they're trying to help people who have made investments there not to lose all their money. That maybe someone they're defending.
Entonces, no son infalibles,
So therefore, they're not infallible.
pero pues somos libres.
But then, of course, we are all free.
Cada quien tiene su visión, su punto de vista.
And everyone has their own mission, their own point of view.
Y respetar.
And we need to respect.
Lo segundo,
And so the second part now.
Y también preguntarle, ayer el secretario adjunto de Estado para
Yesterday, the Secretary Adjunct to the State
Asuntos Internacionales de
regarding international matters,
Narcotráfico, Richard Glenn, decía
and it had to do something with narcotics trafficking.
les preocupaba
And they said they were worried
la estrategia que tenía México para
regarding the strategy that Mexico had
combatir el narcotráfico
to combat narcotic trafficking.
y que pues sobre todo por los hechos que habían ocurrido
And especially related to the things that have occurred recently
recientemente en Culiacán
in Culiacan.
y que pues se debía de trabajar en una estrategia conjunta.
And they wanted, and that they thought that we should work together with some kind of adjunct strategy.
Saber cuál es su opinión sobre esto y que
And so she's asking, what is your opinion regarding this?
él respondería a estas críticas
And what would your response be to these critics?
que pues bueno están haciendo desde el gobierno de Estados
And these we know are coming from the U.S. government.
Unidos. Y ya por último también
And also the last part she has to ask.
hoy publicamos una nota en donde se registran
So today we published a note where it is registered
que la industria constructora ha caído aproximadamente en un 10%
and something about the industry has dropped 10%
desde el mes de agosto.
since the month of August.
Saber si ya tienen listo el Plan Nacional de Infraestructura
So do you already have the National Plan for Infrastructure?
y si con esto ya se levantarían estos índices que pues
And with this, would it raise these indexes
registraron esta caída desde el mes de agosto.
that registered this fall since the month of August? Okay, so now the president is going to answer this. But I want to let you know, after this question is answered, I am going to stop this stream, and I'm going to let people know that I'm going to be doing live streams using my YouTube channel, the English AMLO-Vision channel, because that way, if they want to see the live program with translations and questions, so that I can answer them. That I'm hoping to do that next. So just so you know, I'm going to put this short video out, just dealing with this part, and then I'm going to put it out so that people that want to see the rest of it will be able to tune in live to the AMLO English, AMLO-Vision. Because the thing is, I have to switch over to English on that channel because there's a lot of Spanish speakers that want to see some of my other videos, and I want to use AMLO-Vision without the English on it, in order to do my Spanish videos for the Spanish people or the Spanish-speaking people. And so this English channel is going to be used for the translation of anything having to do with AMLO. Okay, so I needed to make that distinction, and so I'm sorry if this is an inconvenience. But if you're already subscribed to my channel, that's AMLO-Vision or Mara Carranza, I need you to subscribe to my channel English AMLO-Vision if you want to see your data in English, okay? So just so you know, I need to put that out there now because I'm going to be stopping after they answer this question, which was actually very interesting. So here goes.
Gracias.
So she says thank you now. He's about to answer.
Bueno, acerca de lo primero,
So he says regarding the first part,
pues sí hace falta la cooperación.
I do believe that there is a need for cooperation.
Pero
However,
con respecto a la soberanía,
with respect to the sovereignty
de cada país,
of every country,
no deben funcionarios de otros países
functionaries of other countries should not
opinar
give their opinion
sobre asuntos internos
regarding internal matters
que solo corresponden a nuestro gobierno.
that only correspond to our own government.
Es hasta de mal gusto hacerlo.
It is even in bad taste to do this.
Imagínense que yo
Imagine if I were to
declare
declare
de que está mal la estrategia que siguen en Estados Unidos
that the strategy that the U.S. is using is bad
porque permiten sin control
because they permit without control
la venta de armas
the sale of arms
que se introducen a México
that are introduced into Mexico
para causar la muerte de civiles.
to cause the death of civilians.
No es eso.
No, it's not that.
Cada país
Every country
tiene su independencia.
has its own independence.
Lo que sí es importante
But-
notar si se trata de vecinos
But what is important, especially when you're talking about neighbor countries,
es buscar la cooperación.
is to look for cooperation,
Pero no de situarse como jueces
but to not to place yourselves like judges
y juzgar.
or to judge.
Eso desde luego le trae muy bien
That, of course, would seem very good
a los conservadores,
to the conservatives,
adversarios nuestros.
our adversaries.
Afortunadamente llevamos muy buena relación con el gobierno de Estados Unidos.
But fortunately for us, we have very good relations with the government of the United States.
Y una golondrina no hace verano.
And so he says, one golondrina. Now, I'm not really sure what a golondrina is, so I'm going to look that up real quick. Because I hate it when I translate and then later I find out that I used the wrong word to translate. And I'm sure you must hate it too, because I've gotten a few ugly notes from people that said, that was wrong. So golondrina, I know it's some kind of a bird, but I don't know what kind. Golondrina. English. Oh, I got the wrong place. This should be Spanish on this side. Okay. Spanish. Okay. Swallow. Okay. So what he said was just because there's a swallow doesn't mean, or you see a swallow, that doesn't mean that there is a, oh, and that's a very good word for me to write. In fact, I'm going to put it on my notes because I really like that word, swallow. There's a swallow. Copy. And I'm going to put it on my other document. So give me a moment. Okay. And alrighty. Sorry, I got to open it. Okay, this one here. All right. Because I'm trying to keep notes on these matters because eventually I think I'm going to write a book about all this mess. Okay. So golondrina. Okay, so golondrina is a swallow. So I guess that is kind of like something that is said whenever the new season comes in, okay? Uh, and I think he said verano, which is actually winter. I'm sorry, verano? No, I think that's the summer. Invierno is winter. I get those confused sometimes. Okay, but anyway, so he says that just because you see something, it doesn't mean something else, basically.
La opinión del presidente Trump
The opinion of President Trump
ha sido de respeto
has been that of respect
hacia México,
towards Mexico,
así lo externó
or that's how he externalized it, or I guess what he said openly.
en la ONU,
At the ONU,
habló de respeto mutuo.
he spoke of mutual respect.
A lo mejor mañana les voy a pasar el fragmento
Maybe tomorrow I'll pass that fragment of video
de su discurso en la ONU.
regarding his discourse at the ONU.
No lo tendremos por ahí.
He says, do we have it there somewhere?
Es difícil de conseguir. Nada más
It would be
hace referencia.
maybe difficult to find, but I would just want to use it kind of like a reference. Darn.
Y aquí alguien que hable inglés nos ayude en la traducción.
And someone here who speaks English could translate it for us.
Saca. Es que esto es muy importante.
Because this is very important.
Porque también quienes nos están viendo
Because also those who are watching us,
a lo mejor no se enteraron.
perhaps they didn't find out.
Si le hablas, aunque bueno, él se va tan temprano.
If you call them, or if they wake up early,
A Juan Ramón de la Fuente,
Juan Ramón de la Fuente,
nuestro embajador
our ambassador
en la ONU,
at the ONU,
él me informó,
he informed me,
me mandó
and
el fragmento.
he sent me that piece of the video
puede enviártelo
so he can send it
y
to you
vamos a
again.
pasarlo
And then we'll put it on for you to see.
y que alguien lo traduzca.
And then someone here can translate it.
A ver quién habla inglés.
Let's see who speaks English
Haga el favor.
that could do this favor for us.
Ah, muy bien.
Oh, you? Okay, very well.
Vamos a esperar a ver si
Okay, so
nos
we'll
pasa.
wait and see if they
Sí
can
se
find
puede,
it.
¿verdad?
Yes, we can, right?
Bueno, ustedes
Well,
son
okay.
realmente expertos.
You guys are actually the experts,
Especialistas
really
en
special.
tanto
You're the specialist.
que
But in the meantime,
terminaste,
what was
porque ahora vamos
was
a
there another part? Because
Sí, nada más saber también de
she
que ha
said,
traído la construcción,
and she said, and then what about this thing about that construction has dropped?
industria constructora en un 10%.
That it had dropped in by 10%.
sí, se está ya trabajando en el plan de infraestructura.
Yes, we are now working on the plan for the infrastructure.
Todo esto lleva tiempo,
And all these things take time.
pero ya estamos iniciando
But we are already initiating
obras
works
que generan muchos empleos.
that generate many jobs.
Les pongo 3 casos.
So I'll give you 3 cases.
Primero, todo lo que se está haciendo de caminos.
First of all the things we are doing in making roads
Y obras de reconstrucción.
and works of reconstructing
Por los daños causados.
due to damages that have occurred or been caused
De sismos.
by seismic activity or earthquakes.
Ya se destrabó
So it's already been cut loose.
esta acción.
This action.
Ya se están entregando los fondos.
So we are already dispensing the funds.
Ayer ya me entregaron el primer comprobante
Yesterday they gave me the first proof
de recursos que fueron otorgados
of resources that were dispensed
a sociedades de padres de familia.
for societies of parents and family of the families, I guess parents of the families.
Para la reconstrucción de escuelas. O sea,
And this is the money that he said he was going to be giving directly to the directors of educational facilities. And this, in case you don't know, is a program where they have to have a committee that is formed by parents and teachers and people that work at the facility. And they have to have someone that's accountable, and they have to use the funds that are sent for education for that purpose. So there's no diverting of funds that are supposed to go for education, because they're getting it directly to the schools and with parents' involvement and teachers' involvement, so that it has to be approved by them, and that way none of the funds will be diverted. So that's the program he's referring to, that it's already gone into effect. Because in the past, the funds that were sent were not getting put into education, and the schools sometimes don't have any rooms, chairs, desks, chalkboards, sometimes no ceilings, no floors, very bad situation with the education department. All the money was stolen. And so now they're making sure that it goes directly to the educational units and committees. And he said one of them has already started charging. So they started to charge. And we're talking about, and so we're talking about that only in the program of reconstruction of schools, it's 103,000 schools. 103,000 work fronts. And that's in the first phase. But in total, there's going to be more than 170,000 new schools. And these are centers for work. And also, it has now been authorized, the amplification and construction of roads and hand labor. And they're going to use hand labor extensively. Now, let me talk about this a little bit. The reason this is important is because in the past, they would give contracts to big companies and they would take the money that was given to them up front to buy the materials, for the infrastructure of the roads. They would just take the money and leave and put put just a very thin layer of tar on the roads, and so then they would just fall apart. So they were skimping and keeping the money. So now what they've done is they've given the money directly to each municipality and the people that are in charge of that municipality to make sure that the roads are built. And they give them the tools for hand labor, such as those big, well, not very big, but the manual mixing cement mixers. They're giving them the cement, picks, axes, wheelbarrows, the wood that they need to make the framing. They're giving them all the tools that they need and the supplies, and then the budget to pay the people, and it's all being done directly with someone who is assigned to it, so that they're held accountable. And so that is the new way of making roads. No longer are they going to be using big companies. So there's a lot of jobs, and they get paid very well to do these jobs. So he says they're concrete roads, and we started off with 50. And they've been amplified to 50 more. Now, I would really like to show you at some point the pictures of the roads that they're making. In fact, let me see if I can find something to show you regarding that. Hold on. Okay, give me a moment, because I'm going to give you something, a little view of what is happening. Okay, let me see. Okay, so this is something about the roads. I'm going to put a little part there. So this is the people. Oh yes, very cool. Okay. So, okay. So I'm going to put this on my other screen so you could see it, okay? I don't like this on there. Okay. So I'm going to show you this video here. Oh, I mean it to go, hold on, minimize this for a minute. Okay. So I'm going to move this to the other screen. And I'm going to make it big. Okay. Okay. So this is the road in Oaxaca when they're building it, just so you could see what they're doing. Now the people has no need to immigrate, because before they would have to go look for a living to other places, to other countries. They would leave for 6 months. So sometimes they would work 6 months outside the community and 6 months inside, back in their community. And they would work out for other people as jornaleros, which is a word I do not recognize, but I think it's like some kind of a field worker or worker in something like ranches, like field hands. So what do we want? That the Mexican person could work and be happy in the place he was born, where his family and his customs are, where his cultures are. And the municipal president was asking me because he was asking me regarding this. And he said from last year to this year, things have changed very much. Because now the people are not migrating to look for work away from home or outside. Because now they have this fountain of work. This fountain of work that is within their own communities. He says, I've already explained it and I've spoken enough. So these are the beautiful places, and so this is some of the beautiful places that they're putting on there in Mexico that people had to leave behind to come to other places to work. And now this is the beauty that they have in their own homes. So they're saying that they are very grateful, and they're letting them know that they're very grateful to their president. So they want to say thank you to López Obrador because no other government had ever done what is now being done. Always us, the indigenous people, had lived with a hope that someday we would have justice. And now we are living it. And so now these resources that are being given directly to the community, and you can see the product of it, and here's the work. So he says, as you can see, the roads are different, and people who have come to visit us say that it is an artisan type of road. See, you can see the road behind him in that picture. It's got rows, and I'm hoping to show you a picture that's better. But you can see that there's rows of rock cement. And this helps so that if there's earthquakes, the rocky part will give and not crack the cement. So now what we're seeing, what we're palpating, is the love of the work of the people.
El trabajo del pueblo y sobre todo las personas del pueblo,
And overall, and especially the people of the towns,
pues ya no tienen por qué emigrar, aquí está
they have no reason to migrate because now they have jobs
el
here.
trabajo, llegan a sus casas, ya no es
And they have their own homes.
ir a Oaxaca a ver si encuentran trabajo, a ver
They don't have to go somewhere in Oaxaca to see if they can find work.
si se puede. No, ahora con estos trabajos pues se está beneficiando pues la,
So see, this guy with a wheelbarrow, this is the work they're doing, the hand labor, and they love it because they're doing it for their own, the benefit of their own communities. Now there'll be roads to all these places that have been hidden from us. It's going to be so spectacular. Mexico is going to have roadways everywhere. We're talking about hundreds of roads that are being built and very sturdy.
la comunidad. Por eso, señor presidente, estamos muy
See, you can see them dumping the rocks. So what they do is they have the women gather the rocks. So, oh yeah, by the way, the women get to work as well. They have the women gather the rocks, and then, or you know, the people the extra people, the extra hands they have. But anyway, they gather the rocks, and then someone else, you know, mixes the cement. They all work together as a team, and they build the roads.
agradecidos por porque usted ha vuelto la vista. Nosotros sabemos un poco de historia.
So, because you have set your eyes on us, we know a little bit about the history, and you can see them there. See the women and the men gathering stones. They're going to pick the right stones to put in the middle of the cement tracks. So there's going to be cement rock, and the cement part is where the wheels go, and the rocky part is in between the wheels, and that gives it a little leeway so that, like I said, in terms of seismic activity or anything that causes any disruption in the earth, it can absorb some of the movement.
Eran los ideales juaristas, hacerle justicia al mexicano, hacerle justicia al indígena.
So now someone is giving justice to the people, the Mexicans, the indigenous.
Pero tal parece que nosotros estábamos relegados, no es que
So, but it seems that we were in the past forgotten, set aside.
estábamos relegados. Y si se han hecho algunas obras en la comunidad es pues por esfuerzos del pueblo.
And if any of the works had been done in the community, it had been because of the efforts of the townspeople.
Y por algún apoyo también que ha habido.
And because of some little supports that they had gotten.
Entonces, estamos muy agradecidos por eso.
So we are very grateful. So see, you can see the road behind him, how it's got rows of rocks, rows of cement. This is a very interesting video. And there's a lot like this. I just put Caminos de Oaxaca, roads in Oaxaca, if you want to put it another way. And you can, it's OAXA, Oaxaca. And you'll see it's really cool. It's the roads are beautiful. And we hope that all of Mexico will receive this that we're getting here. In all the areas, so that the workers, the laborers, because it's a very strong, helpful benefit. And we are feeling the fourth transformation of Mexico. So, because one of these transformations in this town of Alanco was the guerrillas. Because in the time or the era of Porfirio Diaz, the town was subjugated. Our town, our elders, there used to be only 4 towns, and our people opposed themselves here in the hills. So what did the government of that time do
con el ejército y nuestros pueblos están
with the army or the military and then the other towns?
a favor de aquel gobierno, pues
And because the other people were in favor of that government,
nos corrieron
they threw us out.
por 8 años estuvimos
8 years we were exiled from our place.
ausentes. Por eso
8 years we were absent.
el 30 de diciembre del año pasado
So then on the 30th of December last year,
celebramos el primer centenario del pueblo.
we celebrated the first 100 years of our town,
De que regresó al pueblo de Anal. Por
that we returned to our land.
eso es que hemos vivido bastante mal, pues, pero
So we've had very bad times.
ahora con este camino, nos va a detonar, porque va a haber
So now with this road, this is going to detonate us
ecoturismo, va a haber
because it'll increase tourism,
donde puedan sacar los campesinos sus productos.
and the people will be able to take their products out.
Sí. En fin, es un detonante bastante fuerte.
It's a detonation that's very strong,
Y nosotros lo sentimos
and we feel it,
y lo felicitamos a
and we congratulate you
nombre del pueblo de Analco, señor presidente.
in the name of the town of Ananco.
Pero dime cuántos están trabajando. Hombre,
So I would like to know how many are working, men and women.
hombres y mujeres, ahorita si bajamos, ahí están allá abajo. Ahí
Well, if you go down there, they're down there right now.
están trabajando. Ahí están trabajando alrededor
You can see down there they're working.
de unos 80, 90 personas.
It's about 80 or 90 people.
Ahí están trabajando las mujeres,
And the women are working.
se está haciendo el camino, pues, ¿no?
So they're making the road, you know.
Sí, así, terminando.
So check this out. See how they're putting the rocks and the cement in there? Isn't that very interesting?
Sí, avanzando. ¿Y cuánto?
And we're advancing.
¿Cuánto lleva?
And how much have they done so far?
Ahorita llevamos como 3 kilómetros y
So far we've made 3 kilometers.
300,
So 3 to 303
400 por ahí. Ajá.
or 400.
Pero al 100 así como está,
But all of it, 100%, the way it looks here.
así como se ve aquí.
The way you see it here, that's how we're doing it.
Ya estamos adelantado media carretera de
And we've already done half the road. We've advanced to half the road already.
digamos hasta kilómetro 6.
And we've gone up to kilometer number 6.
Aplanada, ya está la mitad, ya está la mitad.
That has half the road already done.
Pero así como está aquí está a 3 kilómetros.
Yeah, just like here, it's like 3 kilometers. That's 400 to 500 feet.
Continuar grabando porque tenemos que ir a la supervisión.
So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys see who this was so they can have their credits. So this was Cid Perez. Hold on, let's pause this. Don't, let's okay, it was Cid Perez. Let's see if we can go back. Anyway, I'm going to close that for now or move it back over. Anyway, I just wanted you guys to see what I mean about the roads in Oaxaca and how significant this is. And this has already been going on for a while. I know they've built at least 50 roads to different areas of Mexico that were previously hidden away because you couldn't get to them unless you went by burro or some other means. So now we'll get back to the president. So yes, now we've begun with that. And that reactivates very much the construction from the lowest parts. And the second part, we've already started with the refinery,
con la construcción de la refinería.
with the construction of the refinery.
Si ustedes van a Dos Bocas para ir
So if you go to Dos Bocas Paraíso
a Tabasco,
in Tabasco,
van a ver movimiento
you will see some movement.
de muchos camiones de volteos
So many trucks that can, like dump trucks,
se está trabajando en todo lo que es el relleno
and they're working right now on all the filling, backfill
del área
in that area.
y ya está reactivada la economía porque
And so now the economy has been reactivated
la construcción
because the construction
no solo en Paraíso,
is not only in Paraíso,
sino en todo Tabasco,
but in all of Tabasco,
parte de Campeche,
part of Campeche,
porque se está echando a andar de nuevo
because we're starting it up, reigniting it again,
la producción petrolera.
the production of petroleum.
Eso es muy importante.
This is very important.
Lo tercero,
And the third part,
ya resolvimos lo de
we have already resolved
los amparos.
regarding the stays. See, now, this is something very important or significant. There's a thing called amparo, which is a form of, and I'm going to look for the exact word, amparo. Okay, so it's a protection. It's where they ask to be protected or to be sheltered. They're like shelters against actions, so that they have had requested and gotten several judges to put holds on the different things like the airport that was going to be put in Dos Bocas, and well, there was two airports that are like the military one and the Santa Lucia. So they had a bunch. Claudio X Gonzalez had put a bunch, like 140 amparos, which are protections, shelters. They asked to be harbored. Anyway, they did the same with the refineries, and they did the same with the Maya train. So they've had to do so many. They've had so many stumbling blocks that they had to get, get over, get rid of. But anyway, so I figured that's been on there long enough. But let me see. So this is significant. Oh my word.
Del aeropuerto de Santa Lucía,
So see, the airport of Santa Lucia,
esa es obra pública.
and that is a public work
También
also.
estamos esperando que se termine
We are waiting
el estudio
for the study to
de
end
básica
in the basic
para licitar el Tren Maya.
to start the Maya train.
Significar miles de empleos.
And that is going to mean thousands of jobs.
Y también
And
está
also, there is
en proceso
in process
el plan
the plan
para llevar a cabo acciones de infraestructura, vivienda,
to
autopistas,
to take into action viviendas, which is homes, autopistas is like freeways. He said one other thing, but I don't want to have to go back.
obras
and other works
con la iniciativa privada,
that are with private sectors.
plan de infraestructura
The infrastructure plan
que está apoyando el Consejo Coordinador Empresarial,
that is being supported by the Consejo Empresarial, something about the Council for Business, I think, the Business Council for Construction.
grupos empresariales como Carso
So there's groups like Carson
y otras empresas.
and other companies.
Entonces, ahí vamos.
Oh, and I think they're some of the ones that are putting some of the blocks.
Todo eso pues lleva tiempo.
And all of this takes time.
Yo creo que el ejemplo más claro de
I believe that the example that is the most clear regarding
cómo no es fácil
how it is not easy or simple,
que camine el elefante
that the elephant be moved,
es el del aeropuerto.
is that of the airport.
¿Cuánto tiempo tuvimos que esperar
How long did we have to wait
por los amparos?
for those protections?
Donde tenemos que actuar con legalidad.
Because we had to behave properly when it came to legalities.
Pero ya está echándose a andar
But now we've set it in
la
motion,
industria de la construcción,
the industry of construction,
que es muy importante
which is very important
porque tiene un efecto multiplicador.
because it has an effect that is very duplicating.
Con la industria de la construcción se generan muchos empleos y se
With the industry of construction, it generates a lot of jobs
reactiva pronto la economía
and that activates the economy rapidly.
y estamos seguros que van a desenvolverse.
And we are sure that it is going to evolve. Okay. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see him a little bit better. Okay.
La industria de la construcción.
Entonces
So
ya
the
no va a haber
industry of construction. Now she seems to have another question.
ejercicio en esta industria para este año porque varios representantes de órganos de esta industria han dicho que la caída que ha sido la más baja en 12 años se debe a que ha habido subejercicio en el presupuesto y que
So she says that there's some people that are saying that there has been sub-exercising in the construction and that it has to do with that they're behind or something like that.
hubo una reducción considerable.
And that there was a considerable reduction.
Entonces ya no habría subejercicio y más o
No ha
menos a
habido.
cuánto aumentaría.
And he says, no, there hasn't been.
No ha habido, es que
No, it's just that.
ahora sí,
Now, here we go. Now, this is where he says his famous quote about, what was it that I had on there? Let me make it a little bit smaller. I'm sorry, I'm doing this well. I should be doing it somewhere else, but this is where he says this. This is very funny here.
de nuevo,
I have to say it again.
tengo otros datos.
I have other data,
Pero respeto mucho pues, ese punto de vista y sí, en
but I
efecto,
respect
hemos
that point of view very much.
en echar a andar
But we have succeeded in setting things in motion.
las obras
or setting the works in action.
todos los obstáculos que enfrentamos,
Even though we had so many obstacles that we had to confront,
más como había mucha corrupción,
but even so, because there was so much corruption,
pues no se trataba de seguir con lo mismo.
it did not. It was not a case of being able to continue with more of the same.
En todo lo que era la industria inmobiliaria,
In everything that had to do with the immobile industry,
contratos en Infonavit,
contracts in Infonavit,
Fobiste,
Foviste,
mucha corrupción.
lots of corruption.
Pero de tiempo atrás,
But this has been going on for a long time, some time back.
todo el periodo neoliberal,
The whole neoliberal period.
recuérdense
Remember it.
cómo construían
How did they construct things?
unidades habitacionales,
Habitation units or buildings
en zonas de riesgo,
in risky zones or high risk places.
huevitos de 30 metros cuadrados,
Very small eggs, 30 meters square.
políticos, hijos de políticos,
Politicians, sons of politicians,
etcétera, etcétera, etcétera,
etc., etc., etc.
etcétera. Deudas
Debts
sin pagar,
without paying,
fraudes,
frauds,
cartera vencida del Infonavit vendida,
and they had a expired card from Infonavit that was sold,
a despachos,
to
coyotes,
people or that coyotes, which are the ones that are used to help people cross the borders illegally.
para desalojar a familias de trabajadores,
So what they would do is they would remove people from their homes that were workers.
entonces siempre he dicho,
So then I've always said,
no se trata de crecer por crecer,
it's not a matter of growth just for the sake of growth.
cerrar los ojos y decir, a ver, no le hace que roben,
To close your eyes and say, it doesn't matter if they steal,
pero inviertan y que haya crecimiento.
so even if they steal, keep investing. So there will be growth.
No le hacen que destruyan la naturaleza.
So it doesn't matter if they destroy nature and the environment.
Usen fracking,
Go ahead, use fracking.
usen transgénicos,
Use transgender, which is, what do they call that when they mutate the genes of plants?
roben, destruyan la
Steal, destroy,
naturaleza,
destroy nature.
cometan injusticia,
Go ahead, commit injustices.
porque lo que nos importa
Because what is important to us
es lograr la sacrosanta
is to gain that sacred, sanctified
meta
goal
de que haya crecimiento.
that there be growth. So this was a very eloquent way of saying what they've been doing in Mexico. The things that they expected him to continue to do.
Así no es la cosa.
Things are not this way.
Queremos desarrollo, queremos
We want development.
bienestar,
We want well-being.
queremos desarrollo sustentable,
We want sustainable development.
queremos desarrollo con bienestar,
We want development with well-being,
con justicia.
with justice. I hate that when that happens.
Siempre lo he dicho, respeto,
I've always said that.
creo,
What I believe,
progreso sin justicia
that progress without justice
es retroceso.
is to go in reverse or go backwards.
Y no es lo mismo crecimiento que desarrollo.
And it's not the same thing to have growth and development.
Entonces yo entiendo, ¿no? De que hay quienes se desesperan,
But I understand. I know those that are getting anxious.
pero vamos a ir avanzando.
But we are going to continue to advance. And besides that,
Además, es ponernos de acuerdo,
we have to come to an agreement,
aunque nos lleve tiempo,
even if it takes time,
cómo hacer negocios.
uh, to do jobs, businesses,
Sin medrar,
and not to do businesses without measure,
sin robar,
without stealing,
con utilidades razonables,
with reasonable utilities.
es reeducarnos.
It's to re-educate ourselves.
Es decir, antes las cosas se hacían de esa manera,
And you have to say to yourself, before things were done that way,
ahora se tienen que hacer de otra manera.
and now we have to do it a different way.
Y eso a veces lleva tiempo.
And that sometimes will take some time to happen.
Porque están esperando a ver si es en serio
Because they're waiting to see if I'm serious or this is seriously happening. Is this for real?
si no es pura finta, como se
To see if it's not just a front.
dice coloquialmente,
Finta. Let me look up that word. Finta. Oh, feint. It's a word to feign. So see if it's not just a fake, like that you're going to feign that you do something or fake it.
si se cambia de parecer,
Or to see if we're going to change our minds.
si con presiones
To see that if they pressure us,
nos hacen retroceder,
they make us back up.
pero como si es en serio,
But since I am serious and this is seriously occurring,
y no se permite la corrupción,
and we do not permit corruption,
y no vamos a retroceder,
and we are not going backwards.
pues se va a ir entendiendo
So they're going to have to start to understand it,
de que ya son otras reglas
that the rules are different now
para hacer negocios,
in order to do businesses. with reasonable utilities,
y que tenemos que cuidar
and that we need to be cautious,
el patrimonio de todos los mexicanos.
and we need to protect the inheritance of all the Mexican people.
Lleva tiempo, hay que tener paciencia
It's going to take time, and we have to be patient.
y poco a poco vamos
And little by little, we're going
avanzando.
to advance, or we are advancing. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to put this out so that people will know that if you want to see this video live, you'll have to go to my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, which is English AMLO-Vision, and I'll be doing that one live, and so I need you guys to subscribe to that channel because I've only got 6 subscribers, but all the material that is on the regular AMLO-Vision channel, which is in English translation, I'm going to move it over to the English AMLO-Vision channel. And on the AMLO-Vision channel, I'm going to have only the Spanish programs that I do, because I also have some programs. And so the thing is, I've had complaints from people of either language. They say, well, I don't understand that one. And I don't want to do 2 of everything. So I want to rather just have one channel where I'll download the English and one channel where I'll download the Spanish, because AMLO-Vision is AMLO-Vision, spelled the same way in both languages, and I want to keep that name for my works. And I do have other projects that I do, although right now this is taking a lot of time to get it all organized. But I also am an artist, and I paint, and I have another channel, which is Mara Carranza, which people were erroneously subscribing to that one instead of AMLO-Vision. And so that was the reason why they thought they were subscribing, but they weren't. And that channel was designed more for art. And so then I had to put some of my videos there. And I need to organize everything the way it's supposed to be, because right now it's confusing for people. They don't know where to go. So here's how it goes. English translations are going to go to English AMLO-Vision. If it has anything to do with AMLO. The AMLO-Vision channel is strictly going to be for Spanish shows, and the Mara Carranza, or Universal Artist, is going to be my art channel, okay? So, and I do many different types of art, so I haven't been doing that because I've devoted myself to AMLO and helping this cause, because I want to help my people. And I want to help the people on the U.S. side too. I think they need to know. I think they need to know what is possible when you set your mind to it, and when the government wants to help the people, and not just help themselves and loot the people, because basically they're ripping off the American people, and every other people that move to the U.S., that migrate to the U.S., are also getting ripped off. They're not giving what is due to the people, and I want them to know what is possible. So anyway, that's my spiel. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day.